Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another Chew and Chat. I'm Ron Rayfield, and this is Justine Dorn. And before we go any farther, if you want to see this meal or any other meals being made that we eat, please go to our main channel, Early American, to see them being made. Over there, we cook it. Over here,
we eat it.
We eat it.
And that's what we're about to do.
What do we got today?
So everything on the table here, except for the dessert, I think, is from 1808. And we have lamb, we have potatoes, we have gravy that was recommended to be eaten with the lamb, and then we have a boiled rice pudding, which was a very common dessert in the early 19th and 18th centuries. So let's dig in.
It smells great. Well,
yes.
You've already dug in. I'm gonna dig in.
Yeah, I've already dug in. And we have apple cider.
Yes, it is October. If you've been following us these last couple of weeks, as you can see, each week gets a little more fall looking in here.
A little more spooky, maybe?
Yeah, Halloween's coming up.
Let me pour you some apple cider.
Please. Thank you.
Yes, and lamb was recommended to be eaten in October, so I thought I would make it. But then again, lamb was recommended to be eaten any time from spring until late fall. So there's a really long window in the early 19th century cookbooks I've seen where they say to eat lamb.
Maybe there's something to do with
the butchering.
Yeah,
and also how when they give birth to the lambs.
All right. Well, I need.
Don't you want potatoes?
Yes, I need potatoes. Thank you.
Now the potatoes are pretty much my own receipt, but I got inspiration from an actual one from 1808 that was incredibly vague. It just said to first half boil the potatoes and then to roast them until they are golden brown, and that's all it said to do. It did say though to remove the skins of the potatoes, which is rubbish. I like the skins of the potatoes.
It's pretty.
Yeah, so I decided not to really strictly follow that recipe. I mean, a lot of these cookbooks were for people that were a little bit more well-to-do, just because recipes for the poor haven't survived from the early 19th century, 18th century. They exist, but they're just a little harder to find. So because of that, a lot of the recipes you'll find from this time period in books are incredibly wasteful. You know, like, for example, I really want to make a soup. I really, really do. But I'm having a hard time finding a time period soup from my period. Guys, do not send me recipes from 1950s. From my time period, where it's a soup that doesn't require throwing out everything that you use to make the soup.
Because everybody will complain like, oh, you're doing it wrong.
It's so wasteful. Like, yeah, it's by modern standards, it's incredibly wasteful, but they really liked to have clear soups back then. They didn't like chunky soups like we do now. So they would put all these, like, 3 kinds of different meats and potatoes and herbs and turnips into a pot with water and broth, and they'd boil it for hours, and then they would strain it. And they would only eat the liquid, like a broth almost, and they would just throw out the meat and the mushy turnips and everything.
That's the best part to me.
Yeah, but by modern standards, it's, oh my gosh, humbug, that's horrible.
And also, by modern standards, we're used to saying the word recipe. I'm going to bring this up again because a lot of people lately have been saying, don't you mean recipe instead of receipt? And a few people have been rude and put in all caps locks and spelt it out, and it's pretty ignorant. So the word recipe was not commonly used until the beginning of the 1900s. Now, somebody might have used it back then, but it wasn't common.
Yeah, it wasn't common. So, in fact, a lot of grandmas will remember a time when they still use the word receipt.
And if you stop and think about it, look at your receipt the next time you go to the store. It tells you the amount of what you bought and what you bought. And so
that's kind of like a recipe.
Sense. Yeah. The recipe is probably the instruction portion, but as far as ingredients go, and people back then knew what to do with them, most likely, they called it a receipt.
Yes, they did.
So anyways.
Can we eat now?
Yes. Lord, thank you for this food. Thank you for the beautiful weather. Thank you for the beautiful fiance, Justine.
Amen.
Amen. Yeah, for those of you who didn't catch last week's, we are officially engaged in real life. In the story we're...
It's getting cold. I'm serious. Eat, man!
Already yelling at me and we're not even married yet.
Yeah, but I'm yelling at you to eat.
Well, it's really good.
I'm glad you like it.
There's mustard in this gravy.
Yeah, there is.
It's got like a little twang. I like it.
It was recommended to eat this particular kind of gravy with lamb. So I thought, oh, of course we gotta make that. Mmm. Goes good with the potatoes too.
Yeah, let me try this lamb.
Mm-hmm.
This is the second time I've ever ate lamb in my life.
In his whole life.
The first time was on video, like 6 months ago when we did it.
Yes. When you're done, can I have the knife? We only have one knife. Thank you.
We had more, but they grew legs and walked away.
They walked away.
They're somewhere in here.
Yeah, probably. A mouse got it. You like it?
Yeah, it's great.
Uh-huh. Well, good.
The lamb is really good. It's tender.
I really like lamb.
But once again, the potatoes are probably my favorite part. Just like last week, they soaked up everything. They're soaking up this gravy.
Right. Here's your knife.
Let's see.
I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's about medium.
Okay, medium.
Medium. Yeah, I cooked it medium. I like my meat to be medium.
Same here. I don't like it bloody and I don't like it burnt and dry.
Right.
Pink is okay. That's good.
Just make sure you don't, well, some people like it, but don't eat huge bits of lamb fat. They don't taste good to me.
And you can trim it off before you cook it if you want to.
But a lot of animals are like that. Their fat just don't taste that good. Deer's like that too.
Oh yeah.
Deer tastes incredible. But the problem is, you know, some people, they say, oh, deer tastes so gamey and gross. That's probably because you're eating it with the fat. The fat is where all that weird gamey flavor is. If you were to remove that fat, just butcher it correctly, because when you're supposed to butcher deer, you're supposed to remove a lot of that fat. Right. If not all of it. So if you butcher it correctly, then it will not taste gamey whatsoever.
The best fat's pork fat. That's why we cook with it a lot.
Oh yeah.
Lard.
Bacon has a lot of fat.
Yummy.
I'm glad you like it. This is a good meal for October.
Good meal for any day.
Yes.
My only complaint with lamb, it's difficult to eat because it's got like this bone that's just a weird shape.
Full of chops, yeah.
And you almost have to just get in like chicken wings and gnaw on it, but it's kind of hard because it's a tight little area. Because I don't like leaving any meat on the bone. I like to clean my bones up.
What a clean eater. This gravy's pretty good.
I love it.
I'm glad you like it.
I'm glad you put the onions on it.
That's what the receipt called for.
Now you guys know I hate onions, but cooked onions, ooh, those are good.
Yeah. So we're here proving that these 200-year-old dishes are in fact edible
and real
and really good. They're really, really good. You know, because sometimes when I read through recipes or I watch videos about people cooking, it looks incredible. But I wonder, okay, but what does it really taste like? You know, especially when the ingredients are a little weird, like putting mustard in gravy. How is that going to work? And then there's also the curiosity aspect of 200-year-old recipes. How does that work? How does that taste? I want to know. So of course we have to sit here and try it, not just make it.
This is a successful meal.
This one was a success.
Yeah, that one clean. No meat left on that one.
Yeah, that one is a T-bone left.
A little T-bone. So we went to the next county south of here this week, and there was a little fall festival going on. And we had never been to this before. It was in Perryville, Missouri. And this area in Perryville was settled in the 1830s, early 1840s by Saxony German people, immigrants. And so we show up there, and there's all these like log cabins and a house, and it was amazing. And we walked through a few of them.
And by the way, Perryville County is the county next to St. John County.
Yeah, it's the next county south of
Okay,
here.
so it's our neighbor. We didn't have to travel very far.
Yeah, so it was really neat walking into them houses. The fireplace and hearth were a good size.
Well, right now especially, I'm gaining inspiration for how to build our house.
Right.
So that was useful.
I was more excited to see the houses than anything else.
Right. We also got some Amish donuts that were really good.
Yeah. It was just kind of a fall crafters festival, you know, any small town would have, but it was at a really cool location. So we'll probably go back there in a few weeks or something and see if we can just kind of snoop around. And they were squeezing fresh apple cider, and we got some of that, and that was delicious.
Right.
They were pressing it right there.
When they don't add anything to it, it's just straight up apples. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. Now, if it's just straight up like that, I like it cold. But if it's got the spices in it, I like it hot. I like it to be warmed up.
Yeah.
It's spicy.
But fresh apple cider is like the nectar of the gods. It's so good. Nothing compares. I mean, this is really good. We purchased this at market, but it wasn't made like before our eyes or anything.
Right.
That is good. Speaking of candy, I made this dessert with her in a video.
You did?
So this is my second time trying it.
Me too, because I was off camera and I got to eat that one.
Yeah.
So this is gluten free.
That's a gluten-free dessert. She can't eat gluten. You're right, it is hard to eat all the meat
It is.
off of a T-bone.
The last time we made lamb, it was extremely hard. I'm having some decent luck this time, but the bones last time, they like wrapped around like a half circle, and I couldn't get to the center of it. But these are like little T-bones, so it's not too bad.
I mean, it still tastes good, but it's making you work for it. Yeah, that's good. That is so good. I love lamb. If it's made right.
And this is made right.
The receipt is really simple. Salt and pepper is implied. You put it on. It also says to put breadcrumbs on it once it's done. So not while it's cooking, once it's done. And that's probably just to give it a bit of a texture.
Yeah.
And then sprinkle some curly parsley on top when it's done. And serve with this sauce, which is from the same book.
Unfortunately, the rest of this T-bone is, not this bite, but the rest of it's all fat.
Oh no.
Dang it. At least there's some taters left.
Yeah.
This here's all fat. And it's a thick fat, you know. Fat on like a pork steak, you can chew it easily, but this is some thick stuff. It's like chewing gum. And I just don't want to fight with it.
You don't want to eat lamb fat, trust me.
They don't taste real good.
Yeah, it don't taste good. The rest of the lamb tastes great.
So this gravy. Oh, so good.
I would give this meal an 8 out of 10.
I'm gonna go 7 out of 5.
What?
If there's not enough of it, then if there's more, I'd give it a 10.
A 7 out of 5?
Yeah, it's lacking in quantity.
Now, I'm not very good at math, but something seems a little off.
What do you mean?
7 out of 5.
Oh.
7 out of 5.
I thought you said 10.
Well, I did. You said 7 out of 5.
I did?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, well,
I want to try that.
I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay.
That's what I meant to say.
Okay.
Because it's lacking. I need more.
But that's not how you review food. If it tastes good, it's good.
Okay, it's 10 out of 10 on taste.
Oh wow, okay. 10 out of 10.
But overall experience 7.5.
Overall experience.
I need like 5 of them, and then just drowning in gravy.
That's expensive. See, if you live out in the... Okay, so here's the thing. Lamb these days is crazy expensive. Back then, lamb and sheep were very, very commonly eaten. Probably as commonly eaten as pork. So it would have been a little bit cheaper because there were just more shepherds around to provide that. Lamb and mutton has really fallen out of favor compared to how it used to be. Especially mutton.
Any idea why?
Why? I don't know. I think... pork just kind of replaced it.
The size of it, maybe?
Yeah, the size. Pigs are much bigger.
Don't use the F word around me.
Fatter.
Ain't fat.
Ron, you're not fat! I'm talking about the piggies.
Okay. Don't you call me a piggy?
I am not. You are not a piggy! But really, I don't know why it fell out of favor. I really don't. But I mean, people back then used to eat all sorts of crazy things, I mean, back then to eat... Actually, they did seriously eat possum back then. And we know that because they found possum bones under the kitchen windows of the houses in St. Genevieve.
And don't you have one of those backwoods cookbooks from the Illinois country or something like that has possum recipes? I have a cookbook. Actually, I think it's from Missouri. It's a Missouri Department of Natural Resources cookbook. I think it's from the 60s, if I remember right. But it has recipes in it for possum, for coon, for squirrel. What you do is go down the road till you see one laying there, you jump out and throw it in the back of the truck, and then you hightail it home before it gets too hot while it's still fresh, and you cook it. Get yourself some rigor stew. Bring that home to Jebediah and Mary Sue. Oh man, that's some good cooking. Finger licking good. We say that. Meanwhile, Ron's dad has apparently this amazing recipe for squirrel. I have yet to try it. Me too. And he's also... Oh my god, okay, I have to say it. What is up with this area and possum and sweet taters? Oh. What is up with this area? Yeah, Candy's husband Dale likes it, doesn't he? I think so. I thought it was a joke. Guy would like it. I thought it was a joke when I first came down here because I've moved all over the world because my dad was in the military. So when I first came down here, literally the very first day I think I met you, somehow you mentioned possum and sweet taters. I don't remember how, but then the next time I met you, I thought there's no way people around here seriously eat that. The next time I met you, we were hanging out at a park, and this guy comes up to us and he said, he's talking about food and cooking, and he says something like, yeah, man, I miss my grandpa, man. He made the best possum and sweet taters you ever did see. And I'm thinking, hold up. People around here actually eat that? And now your dad's always telling me, Justine, you gotta come over for some possum and sweet taters. You guys seriously eat that around here? I think he's messing with you. Well, I hope. I've never seen him do it. No, but he eats squirrel. Yeah. And squirrel's not even that bizarre around here. It's a furry rat. Yeah, it's like a tree rat. But I mean, we were at an event 2 weekends ago. Guy barbecued us some squirrel. Oh, that was Doug. Yeah, that was Doug. He barbecued us some squirrel. Yeah, him and Michael did. And no one even blinks an eye to that. That's very normal around here. It's like, squirrel, You know? I mean, if you're gonna sit there on your front porch and shoot squirrels because they're eating your apples from your apple tree, you might as well not put it to waste, right? You might as well. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna eat you. You're eating my apples. I'm gonna eat you. I'll be like, yeah, let them eat them apples. Fatten them up. Yeah, let them eat them chestnuts. It'll season them real fine. We got a lot of nuts on our property too that we have acquired that we mentioned last week. So we got hickory nuts, walnuts. Didn't you say we had some pecans? You've seen them, I think. I think so. Some pecans. And I'm sure we have acorns too. A lot of hickory nuts. So I might be gathering some nuts here soon. And keeping them. I love them. Pecans are my favorite, and I like walnuts. I haven't ate too many hickory nuts, but I'm willing to try it.
The ones we tried, the hickory nuts we tried on our property are really, really good. They're hard to crack open.
Oh, that's like the hardest ones to crack open.
Yeah.
I think.
There's not a lot of meat in there. It looks exactly like a walnut. When I first saw it, I thought it was a walnut.
Just like half the size.
Yeah, but the outer shell is the same size, but then when you crack it open, it's half the size of a walnut. But to me, and I don't know if I'm going crazy, but to me, it tastes exactly like a really just good walnut. The best walnut you ever had.
I mean, they all kind of taste the same anyways.
Pecans don't taste like walnuts to me.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Well, I'll have to try them back to back and see.
Yeah, we will. I want to try that.
I do too. I need a clean plate. I'm not going to put that on my gravy.
No, how about we just eat like
We'll
this?
share. A communal rice pudding.
A communal pudding. The communal.
And then we'll get into some Halloween stuff. Because like I said, Halloween's coming up.
Time for some spooky.
You want some more sauce on it?
This is a pudding sauce. Now, in here is just butter, sugar, nutmeg grated, and I personally added cinnamon. The receipt doesn't mention cinnamon. But how can you not add cinnamon? How?
You have to.
Here we go. Woo!
Oh man. And this is already saturated.
Oh my gosh. Did I mention there's butter in there?
So some people do like donating. If you'd like to, I could really use a gym membership.
He's kidding.
After eating all this, man. She's killing me with the food.
Yeah, okay, but here's the thing. Have you guys noticed we haven't grown in size?
I don't know.
Oh, stop it. No. Actually...
It's all fluff, I think. It's just this coat is... There we go.
Actually, in my last video, some people were commenting saying I looked thinner. And they were concerned about my health.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I didn't see that one.
There was 3 comments, people saying that.
Usually people will say, wow, looks like Ron lost weight. I'm thinking, pretty sure I've gained like 3 pounds.
It was on my channel.
Oh, I'll have to look.
Yeah. I have lost 2 pounds. 2 pounds.
Not good.
And the reason is because we're just so physically active.
Yeah, we're always going.
Mm-hmm.
We're on the go.
Mm-hmm.
This is like a super hardcore cheat day when we're doing the Chew Chat.
Right.
I'm doing it for you guys.
Because we normally don't cook desserts.
Or 5 courses.
Or multiple courses.
Yeah.
Multiple dishes.
I got time for that.
Mm-hmm. Normally just a bowl of soup is good.
Mm-hmm. I like that. That's very good.
Yeah, this is really good. You wouldn't think it would be. Oh, I made a mess.
While you're doing that. Ooh. Looks upside down.
Ron can't actually read. He's pretending.
Well, but what's that word?
That's why the book's upside down.
That's why I can't read it.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's hard to find, I'll just say Gothic stories from our time period or even a little bit before. They do exist, but the whole, Poe and all that stuff, that's Victorian times, around the Civil War and above. So it's kind of hard to find stuff, like I said, but there are a few things, and they're pretty, how would you say?
Morbid.
Yeah, like the names of them are like the Book of the Dead, or Death Tale. What was it? I can't. Hold on.
Satan's Door.
Yeah, there was one called that. The Dark Instruments.
The Dark Instruments.
Tales of the Dead.
Tales of the Dead. Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah. Wicked Dreams and Visions.
Wicked Dreams.
Yeah, they sound like heavy metal.
Sounds like heavy metal band names.
Yeah. But there's all kinds of these like strange books or pamphlets, I should say, from like the 17th century and like 16th century.
What happened then? Dark times.
Yeah, it was like Man, what in the world? You guys are going
Going
to the dark side.
Full metal.
No wonder they thought the witches were real whenever a lady was just working on like a new medicine or was misbehaving or whatever. But jeez. So, anyways, I'm not gonna read a whole story, but I'm gonna read a plot to you guys. It's like 2 paragraphs long.
And also, if you want to find more of these really morbid stories, check out the Brothers Grimm.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of the modern Disney fairy tales are based off of.
That's good.
Most of the stories are from the 18th century. Some are a little bit older.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of them are from the early 19th too. And I think the Brothers Grimm, they put it together in the late 18th, early 19th century.
I did read a few of those, and they got some good ones.
They're pretty metal.
They got some creepy crawly ones. Make your hair stand up on your skin. All right.
Yes.
So like I said, this is a couple paragraphs long, but I'll try to paraphrase a little bit if I can.
Ron can't actually read.
I know how to read. I'm just a horrible reader, and I love books. I love the thought of books, but I cannot sit here and I'm so slow. I lose my spot. And don't make fun of me. I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding, because a lot of people back then couldn't read.
Okay, so anyways, here's the first one. It's the longest plot paragraphs I got to read. So anyways, this one's called The Death Bride. And it says, a supposed Italian man tells his tale of the death bride at a party. Staying with a count who had twin daughters, Ida and Hildegard. Hildegard, only difference between her and her sister is she has a strawberry birthmark, so remember that. It's like a key.
Sounds pretty satanic to me.
Yes. And she also had died, so she's dead.
Oh, well, that's a big difference.
This is marked here as a footnote to know that she has a strawberry birthmark and she's dead.
Footnote, she's actually dead.
Yeah. So the only one alive is Ida. Anyways,
okay.
Continuing, a Duke, Marino, comes to stay with them and wanting to marry Ida. That's the sister that's alive. He says he saw her in Paris and fell in love with her. Her father says she has never been to Paris. The Duke turns to him and says, I saw her and her valet described the Count's villa. Yeah, this is weird. This is translated from French, so I'm sorry.
Do you want me to do it?
Sure.
I've actually never read this before.
So the book that this story comes from, it's a book full of short stories, and it's called the Tale of Death, or
The Death Bride.
The Tales of Death. That's it.
Oh, okay.
And there's multiple short stories, and they were originally in French in like 1811, 1812, and then it was republished in English in 1813.
Wow, cool.
So
here we go.
All right.
Okay, so the Duke, who fell in love with the sister, says that he could have sworn that he saw her valet. He even described her villa, her house, and where to find it. He also says that she had a strawberry-shaped birthmark on her neck. The Count says it was Hillegrade, and they opened her tomb just to make sure, but she was still within her tomb. So she was there, she was dead.
That's freaky. She could have been a vampire.
So at the same time, the Marquise recognized the Count and remembered that he used to be engaged to another woman. The Count would not confess to the family why his engagement fell apart, because he was embarrassed. The tale... Why did you write this? This is such a complicated story,
I
Ron.
didn't type it up. I just printed it.
Okay, so basically it's saying that the guy's late fiance, she died. Yeah, she died. Okay.
Anyways, find it and read it.
Ron, that sucks.
Fine, let me do another one. I got another.
Wait. I want to see the end.
I read it. It was good when I got to the end. At least I thought so.
Okay, it sounds like the spirit wanders around in the guise of your lover to tempt men away and then to kill them.
The Death Bride. Anyways.
Wow, that was...
If you're into spooky stuff, look it up. The Death Bride. It's inside the Tales of the Dead from 1813.
Yeah, I'm sure that after what they just heard, they'll really want to go out and read more of that.
I'm sure there's one person.
So there we go.
Now this is written by a guy named Nathaniel Hawthorne from like 1840s, so it's about 10, 15 years.
Oh, it's in the future.
It's in the future a little bit.
In the 17th century in New England, so the Americas, the witch Rigby builds a scarecrow to protect her garden. She is so taken aback with her own handiwork that she whimsically decides to bring the scarecrow to life. And she decides to send it to town in order to seduce a girl named Polly, who is the daughter of a judge, with whom the witch had unspecified prior dealings, but she felt very bitter and salty about it. And so she wanted to get revenge.
Did it really say that? Bitter and salty?
No, it doesn't.
Oh.
Once the scarecrow does come alive, the witch gives him the appearance of a normal man and even provides him with a pipe. The scarecrow must continue to blow on this pipe, or else he will turn back into a scarecrow and he will no longer stay a man. Oh yeah, that's how you seduce a lady. You just non-stop keep smoking on your pipe, even when you lean in for a kiss. You gotta keep smoking that pipe. So the judge meets the scarecrow, who now looks like a man, and the witch named him Feathertop. Feathertop is introduced to the girl named Polly, and actually the two begin to fall in love. But when Polly and the scarecrow man, Feathertop, gaze into a mirror, they see that Feathertop is reflected in the mirror as a scarecrow, and not as the human that he appears to be before Polly. Polly faints, and the now terrified and anguished scarecrow, he's sad because he literally fell in love with this girl. He runs back to the witch, where he deliberately tries to throw his pipe away so that he can basically end his own life.
Wow.
And he collapses into a lifeless heap.
What doing?
Well, the witch says there are thousands upon thousands of catacombs in the world made up of a lot of forgotten and good-for-nothing trash, just like that scarecrow was. Yet he lived a fair life, and he never saw himself for what he really was, a good man. Okay, that also sucked.
It's hard to find stuff.
Just read the Brothers Grimm. We'll talk about it in a future episode. The Brothers Grimm. I mean, Cinderella, all those stories, they come from the Brothers Grimm. But in real life, they're way more morbid than they were shown in the Disney cartoons and the movies. Like, in Cinderella, in order for the wicked stepsisters to fit their feet into the glass slippers, they actually took a knife and cut their feet.
Ooh.
They shaved their feet in order to reduce them by a few sizes, and the shoe filled with blood. And Snow White, someone's eyes got pecked out by birds. I mean, it's pretty metal. It's pretty good.
She's the horror film person. I'm not into it. But
yeah, I like horror movies.
But I'm not into horror stuff. But
well,
that's pretty interesting. I did not know it was that crazy.
Is my favorite holiday.
Well, it was mine too, but I like the fun stuff.
I like all that. I like the colors of fall. I like the food of fall. But then I also like the spooky, scary skeletons.
I like the candy.
He likes candy corn.
No. I don't like them, but I don't hate them.
It's coming in between our relationship.
I'm in the middle. If it's there, or if it's offered to me, sure, I'll take one. But I'm not like, I gotta get some candy corn, I'm out.
No, he's very defensive about candy corn. Every time I say something bad about candy corn,
well, don't hate on
he
it.
says, don't be hating on my candy corn. So, yeah, it's coming in between our relationship, unfortunately. I don't know how the future's going to work out for us, but...
I'm going to hold you down and make you eat candy corn.
That'll really give me PTSD. Thanks, Ron. That'll really make me like candy corn even more. I'm sure. So you did like this?
Yeah, it tasted good.
We ate almost all of it. Very cheap. It's just rice, raisins, and some spices and sugar.
That's an idea.
Okay.
Last year for Halloween, we had an episode where we charred the turnip or whatever. But
yes.
It wasn't on this. Maybe we could have like a mini,
Hmm.
like a small pumpkin that size. Have 2 of them, and we have like a contest for as they watch.
Okay.
And then you all can vote on the poll thing, whose pumpkin is better.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that for the next Chit Chat. I like that idea.
That sounds like a good idea.
It's on.
Then I don't have to read any stories or try to read stories. I can just carve my pumpkin.
And if Justine loses, she has to eat candy corn.
Yes. And if I lose, what's the deal?
You have to eat licorice, black licorice. What dessert do you not like? What candy do you not care for?
I don't really know. I don't like the sour stuff that much. I'll eat it, but I'm definitely not gonna grab for it. That's for sure.
Airheads, you mean?
No, those
sour airheads.
The warheads is what they're called.
Oh, warheads.
Yeah, those are pretty puckery.
Okay, so if you lose, then you have to eat some warheads.
One.
Yeah.
I'll eat one.
And if I lose, I have to eat, well, 1 candy corn. That's pathetic. Maybe 3 candy corns.
Yes, to be the
same size as a warhead.
You guys heard it here. Deal? Shake on it?
Yeah. It's packed.
No backing out now.
No backing out. Well, be here. Same time. Probably the same place. Next weekend, we'll do that. Thank you guys for joining us today. You have a great week.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.